All right, so now that we have the articles, now that we can create the articles, now the next step is to create the article details page so that we can display the articles. So the first step is to create a new route. So right below the editor/new, we're going to create a route called route/article. And we are also going to create a page called article details page. And right below the new article, we're going to import the article details and refer to the article details page. So let's do that. The namespace will be article namespace article details, and the page will be article details page. And for now, let's just show a div with a string. Okay, let's save this file and let's import let's save it. We also need to capture the slug in the parameters so that when we are entering the article details page, we can make the we can fetch the article. So in the parameters, let's give it the path of slug, which is a string, and in the controllers we need to give the params property where we destructure the path. And now in the start, we can if we go to /article/abc, it should print something. So let's also destructure just the slug, and instead of printing everything, let's just print the slug. So now we should see ABC, which is the article ID in this example. Awesome. So the next step is to what we're going to do is we're going to copy the push state from the Reddit frontend easy. So when we have the articles, when we create a new article, we want to push the route to this article details page, right? Because as we saw in the previous example, that's what happens when the user creates a new article. The page gets redirected to the article details page. So we're going to call this in the create success function. And if we call it right now, let's also connect to the REPL. And if we call this function, if you look at, so if you call this, it gets redirected. So it seems to be working. So let's try to use the we need to pass the slug from the article. And now let's try to create a new article to see everything works. And if we publish an article, it should redirect us to this new page. Okay, so now that we have working, now the next step is to fetch the article by the slug, right? So we'll create a function called fetch in the articles namespace, and let's change the URI, and let's also implement the fetch success as well as for the error, let's just keep it error handler. We won't implement the error. So for fetch success, what we will do is we will set the loading to false, and we'll set the current article state to the article that we have received from the server. And let's try to test this function. So let's open up the REPL, the console, the network tab, and let's fetch now. Because the reason why we are not handling the error is because you'll see soon. It does not make sense in this case because so right now we have the current article, right, and the error state is nil. But what if we have a rubbish a slug? So if we call it, it still returns 200, but the article object is nil. So that's why I didn't really bother handling the error. So I just copied what we had from before. So now that we have the function for fetching the article, we want to require the article, right? So let's require the article as well as the loading state. So let's require the current article state as well as the loading state. And So now we want to call this function in the route. So when we are entering the this particular route, this particular page, we want to call the fetch function and pass the slug. Now let's refresh, and let's also see if the current article state is being loaded. So if we invoke it, should be article state, not articles. So yeah, so now that we have the article, let's also say if, because the response might send the empty map, so we need to use seek. So if the current article exists, then we want to show the article details, otherwise we'll say article not found. We also want to handle the loading state before that. So if our app is in loading state, then we want to show loading. So currently it is perpetual in loading, so we want to make sure that the loading state is set to false when we receive the articles, and now we see article details. So if we add some random ID, we should see article not found, and if we have the right ID or the slug, then we should see the article details. We also want to fix the href in the article preview. So when we click on the article, it should redirect us to the article details. So let's fix that. So in the anchor tag, so now if we click on the anchor, it should lead us to the article details. And the next step is the most basic. We are just going to implement the component. So let's add the h1, and also we are going to create the article meta, where we're going to pass the article as well as the can modify, and for now we're going to set it to true. Later on we will implement this functionality. Okay. Let's also add the source, and let's destructure the article as well as the author, so that and now right below that we need to add the username of the user. If we click on it, it should redirect us to the profile of the user, as well as when the article was created. And we need to create another component called article actions, which allows us to do basically two things: delete the article as well as modify it. For now, this is just going to be a dummy component. So if we can modify it, then it means that the author is viewing the article, right? So if we can modify it, then we can edit or delete the article. We also want to show below the article meta, we want to show the body of the article, as well as the list of tags. We will also implement the comments list, the comments container for now, and this is just going to be empty. So that's it for now, and I'll see you on the next episode.